Welcome in everyone to a conversation about hockey. Nope, not that one, not that either, but this one. That's right, the regular hockey we all know and love. Actually, kind of a controversial topic. I myself have some, pretty targeted opinions about hockey, but, I was scrolling Reddit the other day and I saw this conversation about I'll just let you read it here. Boring powers, generic fighting style, zero creativity. Is Rox Oda's worst written top tier fighter? And there's a little bit of some arguments here about he's just one of the long list of hockey men. I mean, looking at this last one, he's just the latest in a long line. Mihawk, he was cool. He was the best swordsman in the world. That's cool. Garp the Fist, right? That was also cool. Roger and Rayleigh, Gaban, don't love that. I really feel like it does kind of get to a point where hockey has been kind of killing a lot of the creativity, in my opinion. I want to talk about some examples, and I don't want this to be like a, hey, hockey is the worst thing ever kind of thing. If you like hockey, I hate you, that kind of thing, because I've seen this debate get kind of heated. But I just want to go over my opinion and my thoughts on hockey. Hockey, I think, is one of those things that when you have a 20-year plus running manga, you're going to have some issues, and I think hockey was definitely one of those problems. Now, before we go any further, I'm just going to say this right now, because I know if anyone's watching this, might just be screaming at the screen. Yes, I totally understand Logias. We needed something to beat Logias, but I think it was poorly introduced and just kind of poorly adapted, and I kind of wanted to talk about my opinions on this, because that Reddit post sparked something in me that said, God damn it, this guy's right, and I need to talk about it. So, hockey. It is something that we saw at the very beginning, right? Romance Dawn, we see Shanks using hockey to get the Sea King to go away, so Oda clearly had it thought out all the way back to the beginning. I think a lot of the gripes people have is, one, the introduction, and two, how prevalent it is in current One Piece. So, I'm going to go over some examples here about what I mean as I have like a piece of hair in my face. So the first example, we have seen hockey, basically pre-time skip, right? Hockey basically doesn't exist I know we're seeing it through the Straw Hats POV, but hockey to us almost doesn't exist pre-time skip. And then post-time skip, everyone and their grandma's using hockey. Hell, even do I know hockey? I don't even know. So pre-time skip, right? We have examples where we see it. Shanks Romance Dawn, Eneru was using observation hockey. And then the real big ticket item, the item that really grinds people's gears, mine included, is the one that I hate the most. Conqueror's hockey, I'm fine with that. God damn it, armament hockey is horrendous. It's just, the way it was introduced was really, really poor. Pre-time skip, we don't see anyone use it. Of course, at Marineford, people are using it. Oda said later that he added, the black coating, so now it would be obvious to us. Okay, fine. At Marineford, yes, we see it. We see Marco kick Kizaru, and Kizaru not be able to just go back into his he can go back into his Logia form, but it doesn't just see through him, right? So we see it being used, but we don't actually see the coding. So fine, okay, we see it in that moment. But how about this? Crocodile. You're telling me Crocodile couldn't use hockey against Luffy? Now I think the real answer, it's pretty obvious here. Oda didn't just have it fleshed out. Okay, totally fine. But from a canonical standpoint, why didn't Crocodile use hockey? That's a good question. Well, he had to have known it, right? He's a warlord at this point. I just cannot take the idea that he didn't know hockey. I think it was probably just hey, clearly my devil fruit is just passing this guy. I don't even need to try. I'm too suave for that. I'm just not going to do it. Another example, and this one actually kind of bugs me, and I don't think anyone talks about this, Ace. I know Ace was really young, but the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates has to know hockey. At that point, in Alabasta, right, there was that conversation he had with Smoker where he was like, hey, a battle between Smoke and Fire can go on forever. And I'm like, can it? Shouldn't Ace be able to beat Smoker? I know the Devil Fruit's kind of mixed out, but he should be able to figure out a way. He should know armament, probably. And then, of course, there's some other characters that we're just straight up not seeing use hockey. Of course, CP9, they have the Rokishiki techniques, but still, you're telling me world government trained don't know hockey. And we didn't see them use it. It doesn't seem like they used it even without the coding. And then, of course, you fast forward 2 years post-time skip, CP0. All they do is use hockey in every goddamn fight. So the introduction pre-time skip was really, really poor compared to, hey, post-time skip. Every fight is not only is it hockey, it kind of seems like it really is coming down to who has the strongest willpower every single fight and who can punch the hardest. Now, that right there is a statement that I think might trigger some people, and I'm not trying to. That's just my opinion. If you think differently, please put it in the comment section. But I think I'll show maybe something in that Reddit post, because that is really the spot of contention. We don't see it pre-time skip. post-time skip, we always see it, and now every fight, it really has lost a lot of the creativity. Now, I do want to touch on the point I mentioned earlier of, hey, okay, cool, you think Haki sucks, we shouldn't have had it involved, fine. How are you going to beat Logias? Two things to that. One, we saw examples where Logias were countered. There were multiple pre-time skip, and I'm going to say one that's not canon because I like it. Crocodile, of course, Luffy just like cut some of his skin so he could have some blood, so he was liquid and he could just like punch sand. Okay. Anaru, of course, Luffy's rubber. He was just the polar opposite to Anaru's devil fruit, so he could punch him again. Okay. And then how about movie 4? One of the best movie I've ever seen from a One Piece standpoint. Gasparde, a Logia. How was Luffy able to beat him? Flour. That's right. So were we really going to go down this path every time we encounter a Logia of, hey, what's their weakness? Because how about this? Kizaru. I don't know. I mean, he's made of light. I mean, how are you supposed to beat Kizaru without Haki? So it's a fair question. And now the big reveal. I say there's a problem. I better bring you a solution. Well, it's not my job. I don't know. I don't like the idea that we'd have to have a gimmick every single time. So I think Oda really kind of backed himself into a corner with Logias, clearly, because there needed to be a different power system. Even if you think Haki is good, which I personally, I don't want it in the series at all. Frankly, I don't hate that it's here, but I really miss the days when it was creative devil fruit. And Roger, Rayleigh, and Gaban all not having a devil fruit kind of bugs me. But I do think there just had to be some other sort of power scaling, because it really did, in my opinion, kind of kill the action. I felt like pre-time skip, we were really, really creative. And post-time skip, yes, I know it's like infusing Haki with a lot of devil fruit techniques. It still just feels like whoever can punch the hardest sometimes. You know what I mean? Do you guys have any ideas about what the appropriate power scaling could be? Let me know. But I do kind of really hear that argument that, hey, it really is kind of a poor writing on Oda's part. And I hate to say that, but if you're going to have a 20-plus year manga, you're going to have the occasional issue that gets brought up. And I think Haki is just one of those, I'm going to say it, I'm going to use the word plot hole. Yeah. One of those plot holes in One Piece that can't be avoided, and frankly, I think is just a major, major distinguisher, a part of the reason people kind of have an opinion pre or post time skip. For me, up until Egghead, I was more of a pre-time skip guy. Egghead and Elbaf have been really good because I feel like the pace has been like picking up a lot. And on top of that, the Haki thing kind of bugs me because, as I said, I think the creativity, which I agree with that Reddit post, the creativity has kind of just dipped down a little bit. I mean, Shanks, Gaban, Roger, Rayleigh, none of them have fruit. None of them. It's just insane. You know who does have a fruit? Buggy. God damn it. I don't know, man. I do think Conqueror's Haki, though, is one that is a little bit different, and I'm cool with that being around and available, because I think it could make a lot more sense than just Armament, because Armament's kind of... Conqueror is very specific to a few people that are very, very strong and have a very high willpower. Armament, you have to have the willpower for it, but it still just seems kind of like, okay, we have a character that needs to be strong. Boom. Armament Haki. Here you go. And I also think a specific moment in the New World where Oden kind of screwed himself is Future Sight with Katakuri. I think that kind of became a problem because Luffy saw that, Luffy adapted that, and now in kind of more current day fights, it's very difficult for Luffy to kind of just like not see something coming. You know what I mean? I think that's something that even kind of, that's a little deeper into the New World, right? We've passed Fishman Island, we passed Dressrosa, we go to Whole Cake Island, and then that's kind of an issue that still kind of gets brought up, is that Future Sight was not really something that I think needed to happen. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I was cool when Shanks used it against Kid in Elbaf. He saw that, hey, Kid's about to blast this really big weapon. And then, you know, he able to saw it coming. He went in and destroyed Kid. Speaking of Kid, I made a video about Kid. Hey, is he going to come back in Elbaf? Because where is Kid right now? Probably at the bottom of the ocean, but we all know Oda doesn't kill people, especially without telling us. So my headcanon would be that he's in an Elbaf prison. I don't think that's too far of a stretch. Where is the story literally right now? We're no longer in flashbacks. We're in Elbaf. Now, I definitely think, obviously, we're going the route. I'm going to go 1174 here real quick, so if you're not current, you might want to click off. Obviously, it's going to be Loki and Luffy fighting the God's Knights, right? There's no way we're doing all this setup for Kid to get released for some prison for some reason to fight. But that could be something that's happening. And just an example I took from that is that we saw Future Sight with Shanks, you know, and then it uses Divine Departure. I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Is Haki something that kind of killed the creativity in One Piece? Do you agree with this this post and my thoughts that it was poorly introduced in? I think he clearly had an idea. I just don't think he was fully aware about how to integrate it until he got kind of halfway through the story and then went, oh shit, Logias exist. I have to do something. And then this is my answer. Armament Haki. And then while we're at it, I'm going to abuse observation Haki. Yeah, but we saw it with Eneru, so he had a clue, but to only see one character use it all of pre-time skip is a little... Maybe there might have been more, but that's kind of the one big example that everyone knows and that I have off the top of my head. So, I don't know, man. The more I watch post-time skip fights, the more I miss pre-time skip. I'm not gonna lie. I know that's definitely not a super majority opinion, but I do think some people might agree with that. If you click on this video, you might be someone that's more inclined to go, yeah, I'm down with what he's saying. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for this one. Those are just my quick thoughts on Haki. If you can leave a like and sub, help the channel a lot, and you would get recommended my videos. I'm trying to create like 3 or 4 videos a week. Made a video about Haki last week, what's going on with him, about Garp, about Summer, so I think he might die at the end of Elbaf. Just my opinion. So anyways, appreciate watching. I will see you guys next time.